This is a true horror story that happened in Taiwan. Because of work, I rented a small studio apartment in Chongshan District, Taipei. Everything had been fine until the last 2 weeks before my lease ended. And that's when strange things started happening. At first, it was small things, objects being moved. Then, at night, I began hearing sounds of things shifting in the dark. At the time, I brushed it off, thinking it must have been my imagination. One night, I was lying in bed watching a drama on my phone. The screen went black during a transition scene, and I saw a reflection in the phone. There was another head right next to mine, its pale face pressed close to me. I shot up from the bed, my heart racing. Trying to calm myself, I cautiously picked up my phone, which was still playing the drama. I turned off the screen, letting the dark reflection show, and angled it toward the pillow to see if there was anything unusual. All I saw was the pillow, no pale face. I convinced myself it must have been a trick of the scene I was watching. With just a few days left on my lease, I didn't let my mind wander too much. But that night, something happened that made me flee the apartment for good. I had a nightmare where I was lying on the bed, spread out like a starfish. A pale woman's face appeared in front of me, and she whispered, "I've finally found you." I jolted awake, heart pounding. The room was pitch black. I always slept with the lights off. But then I heard the same whisper, right next to my ear. "I finally found you." Terrified, I scrambled to turn on the light. When the room lit up, I saw long strands of hair on the floor beside my bed. I wasn't dreaming. I knew something was wrong with that apartment. I called my mom and told her everything. I didn't care how many days were left on the lease. I was packing up and going home immediately. When I got home, my mom started telling me about something that had happened when I was a child. She said,
"When you were little, we didn't have much money and lived with your grandmother in the countryside. You used to look toward the kitchen a lot and even called out, 'Auntie, Auntie.' At first, we didn't think much of it.
But then, one night, while sleeping beside my parents, I woke up crying and screaming, saying, 'The auntie is trying to take me. She's trying to take me.' My grandmother, awakened by the commotion, came over to check on me. I pointed at my neck and said, 'She's grabbing me here.' When my grandmother saw the red marks on my neck, she immediately knew something wasn't right. The next day, my family took me to a temple that someone had recommended. The medium there told us it was a vengeful spirit from a past life that had come to claim me. He said the only solution was to move away as soon as possible. We left the countryside and moved to Taipei after that. After my mom finished telling me the story, my grandmother called. She told my mom,
"Tense situation. I know. What's meant to come will come."
When I went back to my grandmother's house in the countryside, memories came flooding back. I remembered being 4 or 5 years old and seeing a woman with long hair standing at the end of the hallway leading to the kitchen. She'd wave at me, beckoning me to come closer. I always thought she was a relative and never questioned it. There were a few times when my mom would ask me what I was looking at. I would tell her, "There's an auntie over there calling me to come over." Every time I said that, she would vanish, and I always thought she had just gone back home. One night, I heard a woman crying outside my bedroom. For some reason, I got out of bed, knelt by the door, and peered through the gap at the bottom. What I saw terrified me. The woman was lying on the ground, peering back at me through the gap. Her pale face, streaked with blood-red tears, stood out starkly in the darkness. I bolted back to my bed, but she appeared inside the room, slowly walking toward me. She reached out and began choking me, hissing, "Your life is mine." I grabbed her hands, trying to pull them away, but her grip was impossibly strong. I kept shouting,
"Auntie, please don't."
At that moment, my mom woke up. As soon as she looked over at me, the woman and her grip vanished. My parents and grandmother rushed to my side. I told them, "The auntie tried to take me." They thought I'd scratched my own neck in my sleep, but I insisted it wasn't me. The next day, we went to the temple. At that temple, all I remember is sitting in front of the altar for what felt like an eternity. I was starting to nod off when the medium finally told my family something about unresolved karmic ties and that we needed to move out as soon as possible. Back to the present. My mom asked my grandmother how she had known I was in trouble. My grandmother said, "The ancestors appeared in my dream and told me Kent was in danger in Taipei. They said I had to act quickly. This time, I was taken to a temple, but it was different from the one I went to as a child. The medium said the spirit had demanded a massive offering to settle the matter. After a long ritual and burning piles of paper money, the situation was finally resolved." If you want to see my videos faster, please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates.